Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the bridge of the UES Harmony, watching the stars shift as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 3 years of war had aged him beyond his 52 years. Gray streaked his black hair, and deep lines marked his weathered face. The uniform that once fit perfectly now hung loose on his frame. "Sir, we're approaching the Kepler 442b system," reported Captain Pete Davis through the communications array. His escort fleet maintained defensive positions around the diplomatic vessel. "All sensors show clear space ahead." Jake nodded, though Pete couldn't see him. The peace talks represented humanity's best hope. The Zephyrian Empire and their alien allies had superior technology and numbers. Human colonies burned across the galaxy. Earth's population lived in underground shelters, afraid of orbital bombardment. "Any word from home?" Jake asked his intelligence officer, Ryan Brooks. Ryan shook his head. "Nothing new, sir. The defense grid is holding, but barely." He paused, checking his tablet. "Admiral, are we sure about this?" The invitation came out of nowhere. 3 years of them trying to wipe us out, then suddenly they want to talk? Jake had wondered the same thing. War Prime Zethkar of the Zephyrian Empire was known for his ruthlessness. The alien commander had personally ordered the destruction of New Geneva Colony, killing 2 million civilians. Now he wanted peace talks on a neutral world. "We don't have much choice," Jake replied. "Our resources are almost gone. If there's even a small chance for real peace, we have to take it." Lisa Carter, the lead negotiator, looked up from her preparation notes. She was the best diplomat Earth had, skilled at reading both human and alien psychology. "The terms they sent were vague," she said. "Usually that means they want room to negotiate, but with the Zephyrians," she shrugged. Dr. Amy Walsh sat nearby, reviewing files about the various alien species they would face. As Earth's top xenobiologist, she understood how different alien minds worked. "The hegemony species don't always agree with each other," she noted. "Maybe we can find cracks in their alliance." The Harmony was a beautiful ship, built for diplomacy rather than war. Its hull gleamed white with Earth's blue and green colors painted along the sides. Inside, comfortable meeting rooms and advanced communication systems replaced weapons and armor. Jake sometimes wondered if bringing such a peaceful ship to meet their enemies was wise. Chief Engineer Matt Sullivan emerged from the lower decks, wiping grease from his hands. "Sir, all systems are running smooth. The environmental controls are perfect for the mixed atmosphere we'll need during talks." He seemed proud of his work keeping the ship in perfect condition. Jake appreciated Matt's dedication. The young engineer had volunteered for this mission, knowing it might be a one-way trip. They all had. If the talks failed, the Harmony would be deep in enemy territory with only Pete's small escort fleet for protection. "Sir," called the navigation officer, "Kepler 442b is coming into visual range." The main screen showed a green and blue world, not unlike Earth. Artificial structures dotted its surface, built specifically for diplomatic meetings between species that couldn't breathe the same air or eat the same food. It was supposed to be neutral ground protected by ancient galactic law. "I'm reading massive energy signatures from the surface," reported the sensor technician. "The diplomatic complex is huge, sir, much larger than we expected." Jake frowned. For a simple peace negotiation, the facilities seemed excessive. But maybe the Zephyrians liked to show off their wealth and power. Intimidation was part of their culture. "Captain Davis," Jake spoke into his communicator, "deploy your ships in standard escort formation. Keep your weapons powered down but ready. We're here for peace, but we're not stupid." "Understood, Admiral." Pete's voice crackled back. "My ships will maintain position at the edge of the system. If anything goes wrong, we'll be ready." Lisa Carter stood and smoothed her formal diplomatic robes. "Admiral, I should remind you that protocol requires us to accept their hospitality once we land. That means eating their food, breathing their air mixture, and following their customs." "I remember," Jake said. "But our medical team cleared everything, right?" Dr. Amy Walsh nodded. "The atmosphere mix is safe for humans. I've analyzed samples of the food they'll serve. Nothing that should harm us." She hesitated. Of course, we're dealing with species that have tried to kill us for 3 years. Trust isn't exactly easy. Ryan Brooks looked up from his intelligence. Reports. Sir, I've been monitoring communications from the surface. There's a lot of chatter, but it's all encrypted. More than I'd expect for a simple diplomatic meeting. Jake filed that information away. Everything about this felt wrong, but humanity was desperate. Earth's defenses were failing. The outer colonies were gone. If they didn't find a way to end the war soon, the human race would be extinct within a year. Incoming transmission from the surface, announced the communications officer. The main screen filled with the image of War Prime Zethkar himself. The Zephyrian leader was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. His large black eyes showed no emotion as he spoke through the universal translator. Human Admiral Morrison, you are welcome to Kepler 442b. We await your arrival at the diplomatic complex. Be assured that ancient law protects this place. No weapons may be fired here. Jake stepped forward. War Prime Zethkar, we come in peace, hoping to end the suffering on both sides. Indeed, the alien leader replied. His voice was cold and formal. Land your ship at Platform 7. Your escort vessels may remain in orbit. As agreed. The transmission ended abruptly. Jake looked around the bridge at his team. They were good people, the best Earth had to offer. If this was a trap, they would face it together. Take us down, pilot, Jake ordered. Lisa, Amy, Ryan, Matt, gather your gear. One way or another, this ends today. As the Harmony descended toward the planet's surface, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were flying into the mouth of a beast. But humanity had no choice. They had to try for peace, even if it meant risking everything. The diplomatic complex grew larger on their screens, its alien architecture both beautiful and threatening. Soon they would face their enemies across a negotiating table instead of a battlefield. Jake only hoped they would live to see the outcome. The ship touched down with a soft vibration through the deck plates. Jake took a deep breath, straightened his uniform, and prepared to fight for humanity's survival with words instead of weapons. The diplomatic complex was even more impressive up close. Tall spires reached toward the sky, made from some kind of crystal that changed colors in the alien sunlight. Gardens with plants from dozens of worlds surrounded the main building. The air tasted strange, a mixture designed to be breathable for many species but perfect for none. Jake Morrison walked beside War Prime Zethkar through the main entrance. The Zephyrian leader moved with fluid grace, his forearms gesturing as he spoke about the history of the complex. Behind them, Lisa Carter, Ryan Brooks, Dr. Amy Walsh, and Matt Sullivan followed in formal diplomatic formation. This facility has hosted peace negotiations for over 300 years, Zethkar explained. His translator made his voice sound almost human, but Jake could hear the cold tone underneath. Many wars have ended within these walls. Let's hope ours will be another success story, Jake replied diplomatically. The main conference room was enormous, with a circular table that could seat dozens of representatives. Holographic displays showed star maps and fleet positions. The ceiling was transparent, offering a view of the alien sky. It should have been beautiful, but something felt wrong. Other alien species were already present. Jake recognized the insect-like Krathen, the floating gas beings called Vorthak, and several others from intelligence reports. All were members of the hegemony, the alliance that had been trying to destroy humanity for 3 years. Admiral Morrison, Zethkar announced to the assembled aliens. The human representative has arrived. We may begin. As they took their seats, Dr. Amy Walsh whispered quietly to Jake. The atmospheric readings are strange, sir. There are trace chemicals in the air that shouldn't be here. Jake nodded slightly, not wanting to alert their hosts. He had learned to trust Amy's scientific instincts. If she sensed something wrong, he would listen. The negotiations began formally. Zethkar activated a holographic display showing human territory. Red markers indicated destroyed colonies. Yellow showed worlds under siege. Only a few green markers remained, including Earth itself. The current situation is clear. Zethkar began. Humanity has lost this war. Your fleets are destroyed. Your colonies burn. Earth itself hangs by a thread. Lisa Carter responded smoothly. That's why we're here, War Prime. Both sides have suffered enough. Surely we can find terms that end the bloodshed. Indeed, Zethkar agreed. We have prepared generous terms for humanity's surrender. The word surrender hit the humans like a physical blow. Jake kept his expression neutral, but inside he felt cold anger rising. This wasn't a peace negotiation. This was a demand for total defeat. The holographic display changed, showing the Zephyrian terms. Jake read them with growing disgust. Complete. Disarmament of all human forces. Abandonment of all colonies except Earth. Relocation of Earth's population to designated reservation worlds. Dismantling of all human technology above a primitive level. These aren't peace terms, Lisa said carefully. This is the complete destruction of human civilization. It is mercy, replied Krathan Ambassador Vixith, his mandibles clicking. Your species chose war. These are the consequences. Ryan Brooks had been quietly monitoring his equipment throughout the meeting. Now he leaned close to Jake and whispered urgently, Sir, I'm detecting weapons signatures throughout this complex. Hidden gun emplacements, shield generators, the works. This place is armed like a military base. Jake's blood went cold, but he kept talking. Surely we can find middle ground, perhaps partial disarmament with inspection protocols, shared governance of disputed systems. Unacceptable, Zethkar said flatly. You will accept our terms or the war continues until humanity is extinct. Meanwhile, Matt Sullivan had been examining the room's technical systems. He caught Amy's attention and showed her readings on his handheld scanner. The environmental controls were more complex than needed for simple atmospheric mixing. Hidden systems were running in the background. Amy studied the data and felt her stomach drop. Jake, she whispered urgently. The air mixture is changing. Slowly, but it's changing. They're introducing something new. Across the room, a Vorthak representative began broadcasting on multiple frequencies. The translation came through as formal diplomatic language, but Ryan's equipment revealed something else. Coded signals were being sent to locations throughout the galaxy. Admiral, Ryan whispered. They're sending activation codes, military frequencies. This is going out to fleet commanders across hegemony space. Jake realized the horrible truth. This wasn't a peace negotiation that had gone wrong. It was never intended to be real peace talks at all. It was an elaborate trap, designed to eliminate Earth's leadership while positioning forces for a final assault. Lisa Carter continued trying to negotiate, unaware that Jake now knew they were all in mortal danger. Perhaps if we discuss specific colony worlds individually, we can find compromises that work for everyone. There will be no compromises, Zethkar said coldly. Humanity is a disease that must be cured. These talks are merely a formality before your final extinction. The War Prime's words confirmed Jake's fears. They had walked straight into a trap. The peace talks were just for show, probably being broadcast across the galaxy to make it look like humanity had been given a chance before being destroyed. Amy Walsh began to feel dizzy from whatever they were putting in the air. She grabbed Matt's arm for support. We need to get out of here, she whispered. Whatever they're doing, it's affecting our nervous systems. Outside the complex, Captain Pete Davis was conducting his own investigation. His escort fleet had detected massive energy signatures at the edge of the star system. Cloaked ships were moving into position, hundreds of them. It was the largest alien fleet ever assembled. Pete activated his emergency communicator, trying to warn Jake. But something was blocking transmissions to the complex. The diplomatic facility had become a prison, cutting the humans off from any hope of rescue or escape. Back in the conference room, Jake made a decision that would change everything. He looked at his team and saw understanding in their eyes. They all knew they were trapped. They all knew this was likely their last day alive. But Jake Morrison hadn't survived 3 years of interstellar war by giving up easily. Humanity had taught him that even in the darkest moments, there was always another move to make. War Prime Zethkar, Jake said formally, standing up from his chair. "I need to consult with my team before responding to your generous offer." "Of course," Zethkar replied with what might have been a smile. "Take all the time you need, we are in no hurry." The alien leader's words carried a terrible meaning. They weren't in a hurry because the trap was already sprung. The fleet was in position. Earth's leaders were captured. All that remained was the final act of humanity's destruction. But as Jake gathered his team for a private consultation, he activated a small device hidden in his uniform. A device that would send a very different message than what the aliens expected. The real war was about to begin. Jake Morrison's small device sent out a signal that seemed like nothing more than static interference. But across human space, that signal activated systems that had been waiting in silence for 3 long years. On Earth, General Scott Baker received the transmission and immediately began implementing Protocol Omega. "All units, this is Earth Command." Scott's voice went out on encrypted channels to every human military base, hidden outpost, and civilian resistance cell. "The Admiral has confirmed hostile intent. Protocol Omega is now active. Repeat, Protocol Omega is active." In the diplomatic complex on Kepler 442b, Jake's team huddled together for their private consultation. To the watching aliens, it looked like defeated humans discussing surrender terms. In reality, they were preparing for something the enemy never expected. "Amy, what can you tell me about the atmospheric changes?" Jake whispered. Dr. Amy Walsh checked her hidden scanner. "It's designed to make us sleepy and compliant. Probably so we'll agree to anything they want, but I've been filtering it through my breathing apparatus." She showed the others a small device disguised as a medical inhaler. "I brought extras." Matt Sullivan quietly distributed the breathing filters to the team. "Admiral, there's something else. I've been studying their technical systems. This whole complex runs on Zephyrian technology, but I've seen similar designs before. On that enemy ship we captured last year." Ryan Brooks nodded grimly. "And I've confirmed what we suspected. There are over 200 enemy ships moving into attack positions around human colonies. This was never about peace. It's about ending the war with one coordinated strike." Lisa Carter kept her voice calm and diplomatic, even in whisper. "So, what do we do? We're trapped here with no weapons, no ship that can fight, and no way to warn our people." Jake smiled for the first time in hours. "Actually, Lisa, we have something much better than weapons. We have the enemy's complete trust that we're helpless." He activated another hidden device, this one disguised as a simple wrist communicator. On the surface, it looked like standard diplomatic equipment. In reality, it was connected to systems throughout the UES Harmony that Matt Sullivan had been maintaining during their journey. "You see," Jake explained quietly, "the Harmony isn't exactly what it appears to be." Back on Earth, General Scott Baker was coordinating with military leaders across human space. The message was simple and had been planned for years. If the peace talks were a trap, humanity would spring a trap of their own. "Dr. Kevin Lee, are your teams ready?" Scott asked the head of Earth's most classified research program. "All mirror. Protocol systems are online," Kevin confirmed. "We've been monitoring enemy communications for months, learning their languages and codes. When you give the word, we can turn their own coordination systems against them." On Mars base, Colonel Alex Turner was suiting up his Special Forces troops in armor that looked human, but incorporated technology taken from destroyed enemy ships. "Remember," he told his soldiers, "they think they know everything about human capabilities. They're about to learn they're wrong." At Luna Defense Station, Commander Julie Hayes powered up fighters that appeared to be standard human design, but carried weapons that would surprise any alien pilot. "All squadrons report ready," she announced. "The enemy won't know what hit them." Back in the diplomatic complex, Jake's team continued their charade of discussing surrender terms, but Matt Sullivan was actually making final adjustments to systems hidden throughout the Harmony. "The quantum disruption field will activate on your signal," Matt whispered. "Once it's running, nothing in this system will be able to jump to faster than light. Travel. We'll all be trapped here together." "What about Captain Davis and the escort fleet?" Amy asked. Jake's smile grew wider. "Pete knows the plan. His ships aren't really an escort fleet. War Prime Zethkar grew impatient with the humans' long discussion. He activated his communicator and spoke in the Zephyrian language, not bothering with translation. He was telling his subordinates to prepare for the final phase of their trap. But Ryan Brooks understood more alien languages than he had ever revealed. His translation: begin atmospheric saturation. Once the humans are unconscious, we will broadcast their surrender to all worlds, then launch coordinated attacks on all human positions. Jake received one more signal on his hidden communicator. It was from Captain Pete Davis, and it contained just 2 words: "Ready, Admiral." "Time to end the charade," Jake said to his team. "Amy, are you really just a xenobiologist?" Dr. Amy Walsh's expression changed completely. Gone was the nervous scientist, replaced by someone with cold, calculating eyes. "Special Operations Division, trained in alien biology and combat applications. I've been waiting 3 years to use what I learned about Zephyrian physiology. Matt, tell me about those maintenance procedures you've been doing on our ship." Chief Engineer Matt Sullivan grinned. "Sir, the Harmony has enough hidden firepower to take out a battle cruiser, plus the quantum disruption system that will trap everyone in this system until we're done with them." Jake stood up and walked back to the conference table. War Prime Zethkar looked pleased, thinking the humans were ready to formally surrender. "War Prime," Jake said formally, "we've reached a decision about your generous terms." "Excellent," Zethkar replied. "I trust you see the wisdom in accepting our offer." Jake looked directly into the alien leader's large black eyes. "We reject your terms completely, and we reject your trap." Zethkar's expression changed from satisfaction to confusion. "I do not understand." "Let me explain," Jake continued calmly. "You think you've caught Earth's leadership in a trap. You think your fleets are about to destroy what's left of humanity in a coordinated surprise attack. You think we're helpless and defeated." The other aliens around the table began to look worried. Several reached for concealed weapons. "You're wrong about everything," Jake said. "The peace talks were a setup, all right, but not the way you planned." Jake pressed a control on his wrist communicator. Throughout the diplomatic complex, hidden systems that Matt Sullivan had been slowly installing during their visit suddenly activated. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, trapping the alien representatives in the conference room. At the same time, the UES Harmony powered up systems that no diplomatic vessel should possess. Weapons that had been disguised as communication arrays swiveled toward the alien defensive positions surrounding the complex. In orbit, Captain Pete Davis gave his own orders to the escort fleet. The small ships suddenly doubled in size as hidden hull sections extended, revealing their true nature as advanced military vessels equipped with experimental, human-alien hybrid technology. "All ships," Pete announced, "drop the masking. It's time to show these aliens what humanity has really been building for the past 3 years." War Prime Zethkar stood up from his chair, his forearms reaching for weapons. "This is impossible. You are defeated. You have no resources, no technology that can match ours." Jake smiled coldly. "You're right about one thing. We couldn't match your technology. So we did something better. We stole it, improved it, and turned it against you. Throughout human space, the real battle was beginning. But this time, the aliens would be the ones caught by surprise." The peace talks had indeed been a setup. But humanity had been setting up the enemy from the very beginning. The battle erupted simultaneously across dozens of star systems. War Prime Zethkar watched in horror through the conference room's transparent ceiling as his supposedly surprise attack fleet found itself facing enemies they never expected. Captain Pete Davis led the counterstrike in the Kepler 442b system. His escort vessels had transformed into something entirely new. Hybrid ships that looked human from the outside but used captured Zephyrian technology in ways the aliens never imagined. "Target their command ship first," Pete ordered. "Let's show them what happens when you underestimate human engineering." The lead alien dreadnought opened fire with crystal-based energy weapons that should have cut through human shields like paper. Instead, the energy beams hit Pete's flagship and seemed to disappear, absorbed by hull modifications that Matt Sullivan's engineering team had developed. "Direct hit, no damage," reported Pete's weapons officer. Mirror shields are holding perfectly. Pete smiled grimly. Return fire, full power. The human ship's response was devastating. Instead of the primitive kinetic weapons the aliens expected, it fired their own energy back at them, amplified and focused through human technology. The alien dreadnought shields designed to stop outside attacks couldn't handle their own weapons turned against them. In the diplomatic complex, Matt Sullivan activated the quantum disruption field. Reality twisted around the facility as space-time itself became unstable. Every ship in the system, human and alien alike, found their faster-than-light drives useless. "You've trapped us all here," Zethkar snarled at Jake. "But you only have a few ships against my entire battle fleet." Jake checked his wrist communicator for updates from across human space. "Actually, your battle fleet has bigger problems than us right now." On Earth, General Scott Baker was coordinating the defense from deep underground command bunkers. The alien attack on humanity's homeworld had begun exactly as predicted, but Earth was ready. "Dr. Kevin Lee, initiate mirror protocol," Scott commanded. Across, the planet hidden communication arrays activated. For months, Kevin's team had been intercepting alien military transmissions, learning their languages and command codes. Now they used that knowledge in the most devastating way possible, broadcasting false orders to all enemy units, Kevin reported. Their own command frequencies are telling them to attack each other. In space above Earth, the alien assault fleet suddenly erupted into chaos. Zephyrian ships opened fire on their Krathan allies. Forthak gas beings turned their weapons against insectoid Mantari vessels. Each species received orders in their own language, apparently from their own commanders, to eliminate traitors in their ranks. "It's working perfectly," Kevin laughed, as he watched the enemy fleet tear itself apart. "They're so paranoid about betrayal that they don't question orders to attack their allies." On Mars, Colonel Alex Turner led his special forces in powered armor that incorporated technology from dozens of alien species. When the enemy landed ground troops, they found humans who moved like ghosts and hit like lightning. "Remember," Alex told his soldiers as they prepared to engage, "they expect us to fight like primitive humans. Show them what we learned from studying their equipment." The first wave of alien soldiers met human troops who seemed to phase in and out of visibility, using cloaking technology reverse-engineered from captured Vorthak ships. When the aliens tried to lock onto human positions with their advanced sensors, they found nothing but empty air. But the humans were there, striking from impossible angles with weapons that turned alien advantages into weaknesses. Zephyrian crystal armor, designed to be nearly indestructible, shattered when hit with sonic disruptors based on Krathan technology. Mantari exoskeletons failed when exposed to specific biological agents that Dr. Amy Walsh's research teams had developed. Commander Julie Hayes led the Luna-based defense from her hybrid fighter, a ship that looked human but flew with alien grace and struck with impossible accuracy. Her squadron engaged enemy fighters in the space between Earth and its moon. "All pilots, remember your training," Julie announced. "They think they know how human ships maneuver. Show them they're wrong." The enemy fighters attacked in formations designed to counter primitive human tactics. Instead, they found themselves facing ships that moved like liquid mercury, dodging attacks that should have been impossible to avoid and striking back with weapons that seemed to bend the laws of physics. "How are they doing this?" demanded the alien squadron leader. "Human technology cannot match our capabilities." Julie heard the transmission through her translation system. "You're right," she replied on the same frequency. "We can't match your capabilities. We exceeded them." Back in the diplomatic complex, War Prime Zethkar was receiving desperate reports from his commanders across the galaxy. Every carefully planned attack was turning into a disaster. "Sir, our fleet at Alpha Centauri is under attack by ships that appear to be using our own technology against us," reported one panicked officer. "The assault on Mars has failed. Human ground troops are employing weapons and tactics unknown to our intelligence services," added another. "Earth's orbital defenses are broadcasting our own command codes. Our fleet is attacking itself," came a third report. Zethkar looked at Jake Morrison with something approaching respect. "How long have you been planning this?" "Since the day you destroyed New Geneva Colony," Jake replied coldly. We realized we couldn't beat you with superior numbers or technology, so we decided to beat you with superior planning. Dr. Amy Walsh stepped forward, no longer disguising her military bearing. Every battle, every defeat, every colony you destroyed, we learned from it. We studied your weapons, your tactics, your psychology. We captured your ships and reverse-engineered your technology. But more than that, Ryan Brooks added, we studied your weaknesses. Your alliance is held together by fear and mutual distrust. Your species can barely tolerate each other. All we had to do was give you reasons to fight each other instead of us. Matt Sullivan was monitoring the battle through his technical systems. Admiral, Captain Davis reports the enemy fleet in this system is down to 60% strength. Our quantum disruption field is holding. Nobody's going anywhere until we're done with them. Jake walked to the large window overlooking the battle in space. Alien ships were burning against the alien stars while human vessels, fewer in number, but far superior in execution, systematically destroyed their enemies. You made one critical mistake, Jake told the captured alien leaders. You assumed that because we're younger and smaller than your species, we must be inferior. You thought our desire for peace made us weak. He turned back to face War Prime. Zethkar, you confused our diplomatic efforts with submission. You mistook our restraint for inability, and you never considered that humans might be better at learning from our enemies than you are at learning from your victories. The tide of battle was turning across the galaxy. What had been planned as humanity's final defeat was becoming the greatest military disaster in alien history. Jake activated his communicator one more time. All human forces, this is Admiral Morrison. Execute Phase 2. It's time to take the fight to them. Phase 2 began with humanity doing something no alien species expected. They went on the attack. For 3 years, humans had been defending, retreating, and barely surviving. Now, they became the hunters. In the Kepler 442b system, Captain Pete Davis finished destroying the alien fleet that had come to witness humanity's surrender. The quantum disruption field kept any survivors from escaping to warn their homeworlds. Admiral Morrison, Pete reported to the diplomatic complex, space is clear. We're ready to move to the next phase. Jake smiled as he looked at the captured alien leaders. War Prime Zethkar and his allies sat in shock, watching their carefully planned victory turn into complete disaster. Now comes the interesting part, Jake told them. My ship is going to take you home, all of you. Impossible, Zethkar replied. Your small diplomatic vessel cannot reach our homeworlds. The distances are too great and you lack the technology. Matt Sullivan laughed from his position at the technical console. War Prime, you really don't understand what we've done, do you? This ship stopped being a simple diplomatic vessel the moment we left Earth orbit. Throughout the complex, hidden panels opened to reveal systems that belonged on a warship, not a peace mission. The UES Harmony had been rebuilt from the inside out, packed with experimental technology that pushed the boundaries of physics. Dr. Kevin Lee's research team has been very busy, Jake explained. We didn't just steal your faster-than-light travel technology. We improved it. The ship that lifted off from Kepler 442b looked the same on the outside, but inside it was something entirely new. Human engineering combined with alien technology in ways that neither species had thought possible. As they jumped to faster-than-light travel, Jake opened communications with Earth. General Scott Baker's face appeared on the main screen, and behind him, Jake could see the organized chaos of a command center coordinating attacks across the galaxy. Admiral, Phase 1 is complete, Scott reported. Enemy losses are at 75% across all theaters. Their alliance is falling apart as planned. Excellent, Jake replied. How are the rescue operations proceeding? Colonel Alex Turner's teams have liberated 4 prison colonies so far. Commander Julie Hayes is leading the assault on the Mantari slave processing centers. We're bringing our people home. Jake felt a deep satisfaction at those words. For 3 years, humans had watched helplessly as their people were captured, enslaved, or killed by alien forces. Now they were taking them back. Dr. Amy Walsh was working at a biological research station that had been hidden in what appeared to be a simple medical bay. Admiral, I've finished analyzing the atmospheric control systems from the diplomatic complex. The aliens were planning to broadcast our surrender while we were unconscious, but I've modified their biological weapons to work against them instead. How so? Jake asked. Each species in the hegemony has different biological vulnerabilities, Amy explained. I've created targeted agents that will make them sick enough to be helpless but not kill them. Think of it as a very specific sleeping gas for each alien race. Ryan Brooks looked up from his intelligence station. Sir, I've been monitoring communications between the enemy homeworlds. They're in complete panic. Some species are withdrawing from the Alliance. Others are demanding explanations for the military disaster. Perfect, Jake said. Fear and mistrust are their greatest weaknesses. Let them tear their alliance apart while we finish the job. The Harmony's first stop was the Krathen home system. The insect-like aliens had been among humanity's cruelest enemies, enslaving human prisoners in underground hives. But when Jake's ship arrived, they found something unexpected. Sir, Pete Davis reported from the escort ships that had followed them, the Krathen defense fleet is standing down. They're requesting negotiations. Jake opened communications with the Krathen Queen Commander. Her mandibles clicked nervously as she spoke through the translator. Human Admiral, we wish to discuss terms for ending hostilities between our species. I'm listening, Jake replied carefully. The Krathen Hive recognizes that we miscalculated human capabilities. We are prepared to return all human prisoners and withdraw from all disputed territories. Jake looked at his team. This was happening faster than they had expected. The aliens were so demoralized by their defeats that some were ready to surrender. Completely. That's a start, Jake told the Krathen Queen. But there will be conditions, reparations for the colonies you destroyed, compensation for the humans you enslaved, and proof that you're serious about peace. We accept, the Queen Commander replied immediately. Please, we wish only to avoid further conflict with humanity. Similar conversations were happening across the galaxy. The Vorthak Collective sent messages offering to trade technology in exchange for peace. The Mantari Empire released all human prisoners without being asked, hoping to avoid human retaliation. But the biggest prize was still ahead, the Zephyrian home system. War Prime Zethkar had remained silent during the journey, but as his home world appeared on the main screen, he finally spoke. You cannot threaten Zephyria itself, he said. Our planetary defenses are impregnable. Our home fleet numbers in the thousands. Actually, Matt Sullivan said, checking his instruments, your home fleet numbers in the hundreds now, and falling. The main screen showed the space around Zephyria. What should have been a massive defensive fleet was a scattered collection of damaged ships. Some were fighting each other, still responding to the false orders from Dr. Kevin Lee's Mirror Protocol. Others had simply fled when they received news of the disasters in other systems. This is impossible, Zethkar whispered. Jake stood up and walked to stand beside the alien leader. War Prime, let me explain something about human psychology. When you attack us, we don't just defend ourselves. We learn. We adapt. We improve. And then we make sure it never happens again. He gestured toward the screen showing Zephyria. Your people have been the masters of this part of the galaxy for centuries. You've grown used to being feared, used to having overwhelming technological advantages, but you've never faced an enemy that could match your learning curve. Ryan Brooks was monitoring communications from the planet's surface. Sir, we're receiving multiple surrender offers from different Zephyrian government factions. It looks like their political system is collapsing. Civil war? Jake asked. Looks like it. Some want to keep fighting humans, others want to surrender immediately. A few are trying to make separate peace deals. Dr. Amy Walsh activated her biological weapons systems. Admiral, I can deploy the atmospheric agents now. Every Zephyrian on the planet will be unconscious within an hour. We can land and dictate terms to whoever's left awake. Jake considered the option, then shook his head. No, we're not conquerors, Amy. We're liberators. Open communications to all Zephyrian factions. The main screen split to show multiple alien faces, all speaking at once in their panic to surrender first. Silence, Jake commanded, and the authority in his voice made every alien stop talking immediately. I am Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Force. 3 years ago, your war prime declared that humanity would be exterminated. Today, your military forces across the galaxy are defeated or surrendering. Your alliance is broken. Your homeworld is defenseless. He paused, letting the words sink in. But I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to offer you the same thing you refused to. Give us a chance for real peace. War Prime Zethkar looked at Jake with something like amazement. You could wipe us out completely. Why would you show mercy to your enemies? Jake smiled, and for the first time in years it was genuinely warm. Because that's what humans do. We fight when we have to, but we'd rather build than destroy. The question is, are you finally ready to listen? The real negotiations were about to begin, but this time, humanity would be setting the terms. The real peace negotiations took place in the same conference room where the aliens had tried to force humanity's surrender, but now the positions were reversed. War Prime Zethkar and the other alien leaders sat as prisoners, while Jake Morrison dictated terms from a position of absolute strength. Let me be clear about the current situation, Jake began, standing at the head of the conference table. Your military forces across the galaxy are destroyed or surrendering. Your homeworlds are defenseless. Your alliance is broken, with several species already making separate peace deals with humanity. On the main screen, reports came in from across human space. Colonel Alex Turner had liberated the last human prison colonies, bringing home over 50,000 people who had been enslaved by alien forces. Commander Julie Hayes reported that the space lanes were clear of enemy ships, with human patrol fleets now protecting the trade routes. However, Jake continued, humanity is not interested in conquest or revenge. We want peace, real peace, not the sham you tried to force on us. Dr. Amy Walsh stepped forward with data tablets for each alien representative. These are the terms for ending hostilities between humanity and your respective species. War Prime Zethkar read through the human demands with growing surprise. He had expected harsh terms, demands for tribute, perhaps even the enslavement of his people. Instead, he found something much different. You want reparations for destroyed colonies. He read aloud. Return of all human prisoners and their descendants. Establishment of neutral buffer zones between our territories. Mutual technology sharing agreements. Cultural exchange programs. That's correct, Jake confirmed. We're not looking to destroy your civilizations. We want to make sure this war never happens again. The Krathan Queen commander clicked her mandibles nervously. But what guarantees do we have? Human military technology now exceeds our own. How do we know you won't attack us when it suits your purposes? Jake smiled. Because that's not who we are. But if you need proof, look at what we did with the Mirror Protocol. Ryan Brooks activated a holographic display showing the communication networks that had turned alien fleets against each other. We could have used this to destroy your civilizations completely. Instead, we used it just enough to end the war, quickly, and save lives on both sides. Furthermore, Dr. Amy Walsh added, our biological research could have created plagues that would wipe out your species. Instead, we developed non-lethal agents designed to incapacitate without permanent harm. Matt Sullivan gestured toward technical displays showing the Harmony's hidden capabilities. This ship could have bombarded your homeworlds from orbit. Instead, we used it to capture your leadership and bring you to negotiations. War Prime Zethkar was quiet for a long moment, studying the human terms. Finally, he looked up at Jake, with something approaching respect. Why? He asked simply. Your species has every right to hate us. We tried to exterminate you. We destroyed your colonies, enslaved your people, murdered millions of humans. Why offer us mercy instead of revenge? Jake sat down across from the Zephyrian leader. Because revenge doesn't build a future, War Prime. It just creates new cycles of violence. We didn't fight this war to destroy your people. We fought to protect ours. Lisa Carter, who had remained silent during most of the discussion, finally spoke up. Admiral Morrison, what about the other species that are already surrendering? The Vorthak Collective has offered significant technological exchanges. The Mantari Empire is proposing joint research projects. We'll honor those agreements, Jake confirmed. Any species that wants genuine peace will find humanity ready to be friends instead of enemies. General Scott Baker's face appeared on the communication screen from Earth. Admiral, I have final casualty reports from all theaters. Total human. Military losses, 12,000. Civilian casualties, under 500, mostly from the initial surprise attacks before our defenses activated. Jake nodded grimly. Every loss was tragic, but those numbers were far lower than anyone had dared hope when the war began. Enemy casualties, he asked. Scott's expression was somber. Approximately 2 million military personnel across all species. Most alien civilian populations were not targeted as per your orders. War Prime Zethkar stared at the numbers in shock. You could have killed billions of us. Your weapons, your strategies. We were completely helpless against them. Yes, Jake agreed quietly. We could have, that's the point, we chose not to. Dr. Kevin Lee appeared on another communication channel from his research facility. Admiral, the mirror protocol systems are ready for shutdown whenever you give the order. We can also transfer the basic communication technology to the alien government so they can regain control of their own networks. Do it, Jake ordered. And Kevin, prepare the technology sharing packages we discussed. If they want peace, we'll give them the tools to build something better than what they had before. The alien representatives looked at each other in amazement. Not only were the humans offering reasonable peace terms, they were volunteering to give back the technological advantages that had won them the war. I don't understand human psychology, admitted the Vorthak representative, its gas form shifting uncertainly. You have absolute victory, yet you offer partnership. You could rule the galaxy, yet you choose cooperation. Jake stood up and walked to the large window overlooking space. The battle damage was already being cleaned up by human and alien ships working together under temporary truces. Let me tell you something about humans, he said to the assembled alien leaders. We've been fighting wars on our home planet for thousands of years. We've learned that there are two ways to end a conflict. You can destroy your enemy completely, or you can turn your enemy into a friend. He turned back to face them. Destroying you would make us safe for now, but your survivors would hate us forever. Turning you into friends makes us safe permanently and gives everyone a chance to build something better. War Prime Zethkar signed the peace treaty first, his 4 hands moving with ceremonial precision. The Zephyrian Empire accepts these terms and formally ends hostilities with humanity. One by one, the other alien representatives followed suit. The Krathan Queen Commander, the Vorthak Collective Speaker, representatives of 6 other species, all signing agreements that would reshape the political structure of the galaxy. There's one more thing, Jake said as the signing ceremony concluded. We want to establish a new organization, a galactic council where all species have equal representation. Humans, Zephyrians, Krathan, everyone. No more empires or hegemonies. Just civilized beings working together to solve problems. You would give up the position of dominance you've earned? Zethkar asked in disbelief. We never wanted dominance, Jake replied. We wanted respect. We wanted to be treated as equals. Now that we have that, we want to share it with everyone else. As the peace negotiations concluded, Jake opened a final communication channel to Earth. The faces of millions of humans appeared on screens across the planet, all waiting to hear the outcome. People of Earth and humans across the galaxy, Jake announced. The war is over. We have achieved not just victory but peace. Our people are coming home. Our colonies will be rebuilt, and we will take our place as equals among the stars. The celebration that erupted across human space could be heard even through the communication systems. But Jake wasn't done. To our former enemies, now our new neighbors, he continued. You tried to destroy us because you feared what we might become. Instead, you helped us become something better than what we were. Together, we're going to build a galaxy where no species needs to fear another, where conflicts are settled with words instead of weapons, where every civilization can reach its full potential. War Prime Zethkar stood and offered a formal Zephyrian salute to Jake Morrison. Admiral, when this war began, I believed humans were a primitive species that would be easily conquered. I was wrong about everything. You are not primitive. You are sophisticated in ways we never imagined. You were not easily conquered. You were unconquerable. And you are not our enemies. You are our teachers." Jake returned the salute with a human smile. "War Prime, when you first attacked our colonies, we thought you were monsters. We were wrong, too. You're just people who made bad choices based on fear and misunderstanding. Now we all have a chance to make better choices." As the UES Harmony prepared to return to Earth, Jake looked back at the conference room where humanity's fate had been decided. The peace talks had indeed been a setup, but not the way anyone expected. The aliens had set up a trap to destroy humanity. Humanity had set up a lesson in what real strength looked like, and now they would all work together to set up a future worth living in. The age of galactic war was over. The age of galactic cooperation was about to begin.